Hey guys, it's Miss Jordan here with today's math lesson. We are going to be talking about measurement this week. First things first, let's see what we got over here on our board. All right. So it says using inches, feet, meters, centimeters, and yards, we can measure the length, height, and width of objects. And Miss Jordan has a few objects we're going to be measuring here today on her table. I've got a pencil. I've got a deck of cards, a Chromebook, and some bubbles, all right? We're gonna be measuring these objects in inches, and that's because most of the time, the things that you measure, especially as a third grader, are gonna be measured in inches. Later on in life, we might measure things in yards, or centimeters, or meters, but most of the time, we're gonna use something that's familiar to us, we're gonna use inches. All right, so right here, I've got myself a paper ruler, all right? On this paper ruler, there are two sides. Let me see if I can get it to focus a bit. I don't think it will. But you see how these numbers are closer together? This side shows centimeters. Centimeters are smaller than inches. And on this side, it shows inches. Most oftentimes, these are the kind of rulers that you're going to see. Rulers usually come in inches of all the way up to 12. This one only goes to 9. The reason why is because 12 inches makes 1 foot. All right? We're going to start off by measuring some of these objects. The first object I'm going to measure is my pencil. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to lay my pencil down, and right beside my pencil, I'm going to lay down my ruler. You always want to start at the end of your ruler because that shows the pieces that make up 1 inch. All right, some things are going to be smaller than an inch. Some things are going to be half an inch. Some things are going to be 1/4 of an inch, which is 1/4. All right. But let's take a look and see how long this pencil is, all right? So I'll push it back so you guys can see me measure it, all right? I've got it right at the end. It starts over here at 0 and goes all the way to about 7.5 inches. Almost 7 3/4 of an inch, all right? When we're talking about 3/4, we're talking about breaking up that space in that 1 inch mark into fourths, all right? We call 1/4 a quarter, all right? The same way in dollars, 4 quarters equals $1, all right? So we're talking about 1/4, 3/4. We're talking about fourths. We're breaking it up into 4 equal pieces, all right? So this pencil is 7.5 inches. Let me use a different color over here on my board. I'm gonna record it over here. 7.5 inches. All right, that's the proven measurement of this pencil using my paper ruler. Sometimes though, we don't know how long things are. We can kind of guess. That guess is called an estimate. All right, so I'm going to think about this, and I'm going to think about how many inches I might think this part of the card pack might be. I'm going to say maybe it's about 4 inches, just looking at it. Thinking about how much I think an inch is, I'm going to say this is probably about 4 inches. That's going to be my rough estimate. All right, but then using my ruler, I'm going to look and see if this is indeed 4 inches. So we're going to start at that 0. All right, we're going to line it up. And I was actually not too far off. This is 3 3/4 of an inch. 3 inches and 3/4 of an inch. So 3 3/4 inches. 3 3/4 inches. Ooh, that is an awful H. Let me erase that. Okay. Now let's try our bubbles. Here's our bubbles. But look, our bubbles are longer than the ruler. How am I supposed to measure these bubbles if my ruler is not big enough? Well, here's an idea. Now, I'm not telling you to go home and mark on your table. This is Miss Jordan's table, so she can do what she wants. All right, so let me put a quick pencil from my bag that's in the other room. All right, I got my pencil. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna mark where my ruler ends. I'm not gonna move my bubbles. And my ruler ends at 10 inches. So, starting where I marked that 10-inch mark, I'm gonna see how many more than 10 inches that is. And it stops right at 2 3/4. So that would be 10 inches total, plus the extra 2 3/4 that I measured. So if we add those together, that is 12, because 10 plus 2 is 12, and then the 3/4 is just the extra bits that are left over. So this is 12 3/4 inches. All right, and last but not least, we have the Chromebook. Let me erase my marks that I did on my table. Alrighty, I'm gonna measure, the length and the height of this Chromebook. Let's see how long it is. All right, the length is 10. Let me mark that and see how many more. And two 1/4 inches. So the length is, I'm gonna put L for length, 2 1/4 plus 10, which is 12 1/4 of an inch. Let's see how much the height is. I'm gonna measure the height of my Chromebook. So I'm gonna turn my Chromebook this way. Make sure I erase my tally marks on my table, because I don't want them to stay there. So I'm using a pencil and a marker. Okay. All right, so the length is actually less than 10 inches. Let's see how long. The length of the Chromebook is 8 inches. Exactly, so that made things easier. 8 inches. Okay, so up here, I have all of my measurements recorded. Let me move my chair so you can see. Here's my pencil. The pencil was 7.5 inches long. The deck of cards was 3 3/4 inches long. The bubbles were 10 plus 2 3/4. All right, so it equaled 12 3/4 inches long. And the Chromebook, we measured the length and the height. All right, the length was 2 1/4 plus 10. That's 12 1/4 inches long. And the height was exactly 8 inches high. All right, it's really easy to measure stuff, especially when you have a handy dandy ruler. All right, those of you with paper packets, these are the rulers that you're gonna get, just like Miss Jordan has. And those of you who have online access, you have access to an online ruler. All right, if you have a ruler at home, you can use that too. Please watch the video showing you how to use the online ruler. It's imperative that you do this. It's important because it'll really help you out when you start to measure the objects in your practice today. If you need any help, please call Miss Jordan. Miss you guys. I'll see you next time. Bye.